What's going on, Spurs fans, and welcome to another Hotspur Watchalong here on Stateside Footy. And of course, Tottenham Hotspur will welcome the West London rivals, the Cottagers of Fulham, to welcome to the lane. And of course, for Tottenham Hotspur, man, this is absolutely huge. Before we get into it, though, make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons so you do not miss out on any upcoming content from Stateside Footy. All right, let's get into it because, again, this is actually kind of an interesting matchup, really, when you kind of look at it. Tottenham have not been good at the lane this season at all. One win so far on the year. But that being said, Fulham on the road, 5 losses, no wins. And so this almost feels like it's going to be a battle of attrition with these two clubs. That being said, I'll say this. This, to me, is an opportunity for Spurs to right the wrongs. Of course, only one win in their last 6 coming in the Champions League against FC Copenhagen. They do have a draw against Manchester United. But outside of that, it has absolutely been shambolic performances, whether it's at N17 or on the road. So how are Spurs going to line up today? And it looks like they're going to be playing in a 4-2-2-2. Guillermo Vicario will be in net. Of course, he is number 1. With a back 4 of Pedro Porro on the right. Kevin Danso getting the start for Christian Romero, and it's actually earned Christian Romero with an absolute dreadful performance against PSG. Mistakes that led to 2 crucial goals. It was the difference between getting a result at the Parc des Princes and us actually, getting absolutely rammed, getting absolutely blasted, leaking through 5 goals. Mickey Van de Ven will be wearing the captain's band today with Destiny Udogie playing on the right. Now, here's where the 4-2-2-2 comes into play, because essentially it's going to be a double pivot with João Palhinha, which is the right choice, and Archie Gray. The 2 high 10s are going to be Lucas Bergvall and Mohamed Kudus, and of course the 2 strikers will be Richarlison and Randall Kolo Muani. Now, how this is actually going to play is what we would expect a 4-4-2, where essentially you're going to be attacking with 4 midfielders. And from that standpoint, we actually had a very good we actually had a very good response with this type of formation. And so essentially, João Palhinha ends up being the deep line playmaker, which means you don't have to drop forwards back to make a touch, because we're also going to be playing far more direct than we would otherwise. And so from that standpoint, this actually plays into our strengths, because we actually have the type of midfielders where if the handbrake is off, they're going to be able to do the dirty work in the midfield and also be able to be in position to play the ball forward far more direct. The other reason is we're actually going to have Destiny Udogie and Pedro Porro actually hold the width, where a guy like Mohamed Kudus doesn't have to play wide. He can be a little bit more direct through the central parts of the area. And obviously, if you're playing direct with a deep line playmaker like João Palhinha, you don't need to actually have Lucas Bergvall drift wide left or Kudus drift wide right, because you're going to have that width from essentially the attacking wing backs, which means we're actually going to be in positions to play more balls in the box, but also we're going to play a little bit more direct through the middle of the park, which I actually think that suits this team far better than if we were playing a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, whatever formation that we essentially played for the good portion of this season. Also, from an attacking position, we're actually starting from a position of strength, because we're actually going to have far more attackers in the box, which means that Fulham is going to have to be on their toes in order to defend it. Obviously, we saw it in PSG against what I consider one of the better back lines in the world. Randall Kolo Muani was in far better space to score goals. Same thing with Richarlison. So from that standpoint, man, God damn it, I actually like this formation for Spurs. And to me, this actually kind of plays like a 4-4-2. And listen, I've been saying this for a couple months already. I actually think that Spurs should probably be playing a 4-4-2 from that standpoint. I just think it suits the personnel that we have. For Fulham, Under Marco Silva, they're going to be playing in a 4-2-3-1. In net for them will be Brent Leno, who is actually one of my favorite keepers in the Premier League. And that dude is absolutely dynamite in net. Their back four is going to be Kenny Teta on the right side with Anderson and Fassi as the center back pairing, and Ryan Sessegnon, and of course, Ryan Sessegnon, former Spurs back. I think he had 55 appearances for Spurs before moving on. He will be at the left back position. Of course, they're still without Anthony Robinson as Jedi is recovering from a knee injury. Their center pivot will be Sander Berge and Alex Iwobi. And I kind of like this double pivot because Alex Iwobi is going to be the main guy that's going to be the focal point in the middle of the pitch for Fulham. And of course, Iwobi's actually dynamite with the ball at his feet. The midfield three is going to be Wilson, who is actually a left footer playing on the right side. Chukwueze is actually going to get a start today, and of course he's been knocking on the door for Fulham to get that start. He's getting one today off the left hand side, and of course Jason King is going to be underneath Raul Jimenez, of course the Mexican national, 36-year-old, who was absolutely dynamite last season. And of course, if you're not careful, he can absolutely burn you as well too. And so from that standpoint, considering that Spurs have essentially leaked 11 goals in 3 games, they're going to have they're essentially going to have to be on their toes tonight. Why I like this back formation is because essentially what it's going to mean is that tracking back, João Polina can actually drop in, and Lucas Bergvall and Archie Gray can also drop back as well too if it actually gets to that point, if Fulham has us pinned in. But that being said, it's going to play defensively like a 4-4-2, and it's also offensively going to play like a 4-4-2. And I think why I like this is 2 reasons. Number one, I think it fits the personnel, but also think that finally Thomas Frank has kind of kept this simple. And I also think from a standpoint of starting off strong, it's also going to suit us as well too. So the question is which team is going to blink? Considering again, when you think about how Spurs have played over the course of the season, and especially at home, only 1 win at home. Again, this feels like it's a battle of attrition, considering that Fulham themselves have been absolute dog shit on the road. 0 wins, 5 losses, only 1 draw. I think this kind of plays into what Spurs want to do. So from that standpoint, I absolutely love this formation for Spurs. I think it suits them, and I also would probably expect Spurs want to get out in front quick within the first 15 minutes. Get that crowd behind them because it's going to be absolutely huge, right? For everything that Thomas Frank has been saying is they want to turn the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium into a fortress. Well, this is a good place to start against a team that has yet to find a way to win on the road. So I'm looking forward to it. And we'll see exactly how this plays out. One of the things that I'm looking forward to is the current evolution between Lucas Bergvall and Archie Gray, and that combination that we got our first taste of this earlier this week on the road in a place like Parc des Princes. And yes, there was some mistakes on the part of Lucas Bergvall. But that being said, one of the things I absolutely enjoyed is that current evolution of Archie Gray, because every single time I see this young kid play, that dude is absolutely calm with the ball at his feet. He almost feels like he's, counter press resistant. Like, dude always seems to find a good position with the ball, and he's not afraid under pressure. And from that standpoint, I don't know, man. The dude just seems to play. The dude seems to play wise beyond his years. And from that standpoint, I'm looking forward to seeing him in this match as well too. When I look at this midfield configuration, I think Thomas Frank got it right tonight. From the standpoint of blending experience with the youth, and I think we're at this time where he's had enough time. He's had enough time with some of the experience. Me personally, I thought this was an opportunity to get Xavi back in the lineup against the Fulham team. But that being said, I think he got his squad selection right. So here we are. We're about ready to kick this thing off here from the lane. Spurs will be playing from right to left to the north stand, as Fulham will be playing to the south stand. Fulham will have possession of the ball first, as we are almost ready to kick this thing off from Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And we are underway now as this ball gets played back to Bren Leno. And Leno now will play this up the right-hand side as that ball will get played out. And it looks like it was off of João Palhinha. So this will be a Fulham throw-in with Ryan Sessegnon taking this one. And it immediately gets played right back out by Spurs. So 29 seconds in, Fulham has yet another throw-in. As this gets played in, gets knocked around, and Spurs will come down to it. It's going to be João Palhinha who's going to play this one back to Kevin Danso. And Spurs will have their first opportunity to attack here with Mikey van de Ven. And it's Kevin Danso who will play it back. As Danso works his way across to Pedro Porro. And it'll be Vicario who will play it back out against Danso. And again, I'm not exactly a big fan of playing it back. You're essentially inviting Fulham to press you. And it's Danso. And now Porro will play it forward as he picks out Rando Kolo Muani. As Kudus will play it back to Mikey van de Ven, and Spurs now attack from the left-hand side. Plenty of room now, and Van de Ven will just play this one out. As Dan Davenport checks in, what do you think? What did you think to Pochettino getting upset with the media? I actually kind of liked it. I'll get into it in just a second as Kenny Tete will play this in as Lucas Bergvall makes a nice touch, and now all of a sudden Spurs are going to try to attack directly. That ball's taken away. And now Fulham will come away with it. As looks like Anderson will play it back to Bren Leno. I liked it, right? Because again, he's just reinforcing that the national team is the national team. There is no first team, second team. The national, and from that standpoint, I understand exactly what he's trying to say. And I didn't have any problem with it because at the end of the day, you're taking away from what was accomplished against Uruguay. So I actually didn't mind it at all. As that ball gets played out, and Fulham now will hold possession as Leno will play it forward. As Richarlison will press Anderson here. As that ball gets played a little bit more central, headed forward. And here comes Fulham on the front foot. Played it over to the left. It's Chukwueze. Cutting in. As that ball gets played, and Fulham just scored. God damn it. And it's Kenny Tete putting Fulham ahead. It's that ball played right through the middle of the 18-yard box with nobody around Kenny Tete to take that strike. And already, Fulham take a 1-0 lead. We're not even 5 minutes in. As we see it again, as that ball gets played up the left off the counter. Chukwueze 1v1. And just plays one across the box. And there was just nobody there. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh. And it looks like it took a deflection, actually. Unbelievable. As we reset here after Fulham taking an early 1-0 lead. As that ball gets played forward. And that ball's going to move in. Ooh. As Richarlison was played in a little too far forward. as Bren Leno comes out to make a nice little play right there. So 3 minutes and 80 seconds in, Fulham takes the lead. Yeah, and again, Dan, you're absolutely right. From the position of how Thomas Frank likes to be, he likes to be defensively resolute. The fact that we've essentially leaked 11 goals in 3 games, now it's 12-4, is unacceptable as far as I'm concerned, especially just the way that we're leaking goals. It's been absolutely dreadful as that ball gets played up and Vicario nearly loses the ball. There you go, Vicario. Turns it over, though. Is that ball? Oh, and it's 2-0. Oh, good God. Good God. As Wilson puts Fulham up 2-0. We're 6 minutes, not even 6 minutes in, and we're down 2-0. As Vicario. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. As Vicario makes a mistake. And as we see it again, as that ball gets played down. And Vicario comes out, but he makes a bad touch. He gets trapped in the corner, tries to play it. And Wilson just plays it in. Good God. 2-0 Fulham within the first 10 minutes. Unbelievable. As play starts again. Absolutely speechless. And let's see if Spurs can actually play their way back into it as that ball gets cleared away and out of play. So this will be a Spurs throw-in. Yeah, Jack and Dave will be tearing it. Yes. Unbelievable. As Vicario will come out to make a touch right there, and it's Van de Ven. As that ball is going to play down the right-hand side. Here's Kudus against Sessegnon. As that ball gets tapped away. And this will be a Spurs throw-in here. Unreal, man. 2 costly mistakes on 2 goals. Being out of position against Kenny Tete. And then Vicario coming out. As that ball gets played back, and now it's going to get, I think that's going to get out for a goal kick here. I'm absolutely, utterly speechless. Like, this is Keystone Cops football. Losing a defensive shape. Essentially, in 2 different sequences, 2 goals that probably never should have happened. And now all of a sudden we're 2 down to a Fulham team that literally has struggled to score goals on the road as that ball gets played forward. Dude, what's up, Ace? Yeah. And there's a turnover right here as they're going to play Chukwueze on the ball. That's going to be into the box. Oh, good tackle right there, but it's going to find its way back to Chukwueze. No, and you're absolutely right. And I thank you. I actually did have a very good Thanksgiving. Same to you as well, too. And the interesting thing about this is I have absolutely no answer for the way that this team has absolutely played. When you look at it on paper, there are some good ballers with this team, but for whatever reason, over the course of the last four matches, mistakes have been made, and he nearly made it 3-0. And for the mistakes have been made. And it just seems like we just can't seem to find the right combination. And again, just our space, it's just a number of different things right now that has ultimately been the downfall. And unfortunately, you lose a game like this today against Fulham. And unfortunately, I think that Thomas Frank ends up losing his job. Here comes Spurs now. With space, there's a ball into the box. Kicked away. And Sessegnon will go out to get it. Tries to play it forward. Held in. And here's Kudus. As he's got to play this one back. Danso. Here's Van de Ven. Yeah, it's actually kind of embarrassing. As Udogie will play it in. Back to Polinia. As we will try to play this on off to the right. Oro. To the back post for Richarlison. Ooh. As Leno will come down with it. Good sequence right there. As Poro found Richarlison, but it looked like he may have been offsides right there. And now all of a sudden, here comes Vicario, who actually does the right thing by playing it out this time instead of trying to ball handle. Yeah. Thank you, Dan. Yeah. We had a nice time with the family, so it was a good holiday. So looks like Tete will have the throw in here. And what Spurs need to absolutely do is just calm down right now. What's happened. 2 goals get leaked, and there's still plenty of football left to get back into this one. As Bergvall does a good job right there to try to get ahead on it. And Destiny Udogie does a good job right there to play this one out. So again, it'll be another Fulham throw-in. But man, oh man, 2 crucial mistakes early in this match. There you go, Richarlison. That's taken away. Turning upfield. Out to Chukwueze off the left. And that ball's deflected, but held in. And Spurs are up against it. We're not even 15 minutes in. As it looks like the ball came off the hands right there of King. Unfreaking believable. As it's Pedro Porro now who's going to go long. Ooh. Oh, and Richarlison couldn't handle it. Good opportunity right there for Spurs to to play direct. Good decision with the ball from Pedro Porro, picking out Richarlison in the channel. He just can't hold it. Now all of a sudden, here comes Fulham. And they're going to say this one's offside. Yeah, 100% he was offside. Yeah, Spurs will have the free kick as Porro will play it. Headed forward. Oh, nice little touch right there. Now as Pedro Porro will come back to collect. As Polina will play it back to Van de Ven. As they'll play it back to Vicario to try to reset here. Yeah, Spurs just do not handle pressure well at all. They literally fold under pressure. And that's exactly how you play Spurs at at the lane. All you have to do is just kind of twist the screw, and Spurs crumble under pressure. As Udoji will be responsible for the throw in here off the left-hand touch line. As that ball goes into Kolomwani, taken away. Ooh, nice play by Udoji there. As Polina will try to keep it in. Touch. Here's Bergvall. In space. Oh, that's a bad touch. And here comes Fulham now. And there's a whistle. Golly. As we're 16 and a half minutes in. And Spurs are down by 2. Unreal. As this will be a Fulham free kick here. As Polina and now Fulham makes the quick transition. Oh, nice play by Pedro Porro, taking that ball away from Chukwueze, but he's trapped on the touchline, and that'll get played out. Unfreaking real. As Spurs will play this in, and it looks like Kudus will play it off to Van de Ven, who's got space. Here's Udoji up the left-hand side. Udoji tries to play it in, taken away, and immediately as King draws contact here. And this will be a Fulham free kick. Oh, all right. As Fulham will play it in. As this gets played back to Leno. Spurs are doing a pretty somewhat decent job of applying pressure here. As Bergvall will give it chase. And there's going to be a whistle. As it looks like Anderson is down. Yeah, dude, you already won the whistle. You don't need to embellish. Yeah, I guess that was kind of an intense tackle right there by Bergvall. But that being said, I don't know. Much to do about nothing. For those that are tuning in, within the first 6 minutes, Fulham took advantage of 2 costly mistakes as Spurs were trying to set up defensively. As 3 Spurs defenders got caught out as Kenny Tennant buried one, deflected off of Destiny Udoji, who couldn't close down. And then, of course, Vicario gets caught out instead of just playing it out. Decided to make a touch, gets caught, and Wilson essentially buries it from the right-hand touchline. within the first 10 minutes, Fulham leads 2-0 at this point, as Spurs have yet to really establish anything from the attacking position here. And it'll be Destiny Udogie who will try to play it forward. There's nothing there, as it's just easy for Fulham to defend. As they're going to try to play this one up the left-hand line. It's Sessegnon. Oh, nice tackle right there, and here comes Kudus. And he's going to play this forward. And that'll get out for a corner as Richarlison will just play it off. So Spurs will have an opportunity here. As it looks like it'll be Kudus. And it just seems like in the attempt to be a little bit front-footed, they've just lost all composure on the defensive side of things. As Kudus will play it in, and that immediately comes right back out. As Spurs will try to set up here. Nice little give and go. Instead of actually just going with the play, as that ball gets played in and it gets immediately cleared out. It was a good 1-2 between Kudus and Porro. And instead of going with the ball, instead of going with the ball, Porro just decides to hold up. As we see that again, that ball gets played in. And I believe this goes off of Anderson. Yeah, it does. It goes off his knee and over the crossbar. So it looks like this will be another corner here. As that ball goes in and Leno plays it out. Held in by Porro. Off the head of Kolo Muani, who hustles back to get the ball, and it's Kolo Muani. 1v1. Kolo does a very good job, and that's going to get played out. Nice job by Kolo Muani. As Kevin Danso will have the throw in here. As Spurs fans were stunned into silence after Fulham scored 2 within 6 minutes. As Danso will play this in. As Danso tried to play it in again. And now here comes Fulham. Nice play by Bergvall. But there's the switch. And they're going to whistle. Kudus against King right there. As Fulham tried to play the switch right there. Yeah. As Leno will pass this all the way to the other side. It's Anderson. But the ball comes down to Tottenham. Good movement right here. Here's Bergvall. As he's looking for Udogie on the overlap. Here's Bergvall. As they'll switch it to the right-hand side. Pedro Porro, 1v1 against Chukwueze. He's going to play one in. That's headed out. As Van de Ven will hold it in. Spurs starting to look a little bit confident here with their ball movement. Good ball in. There's the shot. Ooh, it just goes wide. Archie Gray from outside. Not a bad opportunity right there for Archie Gray. And Spurs finally look like they're calming down a little bit. Oh, taken away. Oh, look at Van de Ven. Oh, boy, that looked like it was about to be 3-0. The Van de Ven. As that ball goes over the top, headed forward, and it looks like Pedro Porro loses his feet, and it's Chukwueze 1v1, beats Vicario, and Van de Ven comes in with a sliding tackle to stop it. Great heads-up play by Mickey Van de Ven. Ooh. If Fulham scores there, this thing is over. As that ball goes out of play, so it looks like it'll be a Fulham throw in here. As Anderson will play it back to Brent Leno. And Fulham will reset here. As Spurs try to apply the pressure, that ball's going to go all the way down the left-hand side. And Kevin Danso does a good job of keeping possession here. As Chukwueze, it's like Chukwueze kind of tackled him there, or at least fell over the back. Here's Van de Ven. As Danso will push forward. As it looks like that ball was played back to the left-hand side, it's Archie Gray. And Fulham is applying a little bit of pressure here. Pedro Porro. As that ball gets played out, last touch by Destiny Udogie off the left-hand touch line. Good Lord, man, this team cannot handle pressure. Again, good job by Mickey Van de Ven in that position. Here comes Spurs. And there's a whistle. As again, Richarlison having a hard time in the hold-up play. As Bassey was right there. So this will be a free kick. And it looks like it's going to be Pedro Porro and Mohamed Kudus. As we are pushing the 30-minute mark, Fulham leading 2-0. 2 goals within succession in the first 6 minutes. As Kudus will play this in. Headed forward. Kept in. And there's a whistle. As Anderson will drop. And now there will be a yellow for Van de Ven here. As this thing is just completely fallen off the rails. As they're going to say, Van de Ven wasn't necessarily playing the ball. He was playing Anderson there. All right. Unreal. as play will resume with Bren Leno playing out from the back here. As that ball will go down the left-hand side. That's going to be headed back and played forward. As Spurs will come down with possession here. Spurs desperately need a goal before the end of this first half to get this crowd back in it, to get the belief. Here's Bergvall. Will make the switch to the right-hand side. Kept in by Caduce. Lay it off. Pedro Porro is now going to play one in. That's going to get deflected all the way back. That's kept in. No, actually, it was. It'll go out. And they're going to say that actually. I think this will be a Spurs throw-in here. Yeah, well, fair enough. As the ball will find its way to the left-hand side with Destiny Udogie. Spurs desperately need to get forward and get some semblance of an attack. As that ball is going to go forward. Headed away. That's going to be cleared out. And that will go out of play for a Fulham throw-in. And again, this just feels like same old desperation Spurs, just playing balls from the back. No semblance, no rhythm. As it looks like Teddy Sheringham's in the house today. Unreal. It just feels like Spurs have completely come unglued in the first half here against Fulham. Against Fulham, a team that has yet to win a match in the Premier League on the road. As that ball gets played in. As that ball gets played back to Leno. Moves it out to the right against Tete. I guess that's a nice little play right there by Bergvall. As that ball, that was a nice little sliding tackle. That ball goes out. Fulham will have the throw-in. Off the right-hand side. As Thomas Frank makes notes. As that'll come down, Spurs will concede possession. Ooh, nice little pick right there. And here comes Spurs now. Pedro Porro. Plays it forward to Caduce. As he is hounded. And now it'll be Mickey Van de Ven. As it's Pedro Porro now is going to play this back to Danso. And Danso plays it back to Vicario. Here's Van de Ven. Plays it forward. Nice little tip forward. As Richarlison loses possession, but quickly. Here comes Spurs now. Up the left-hand side. Here's Udogie. As he tries to play it in, but that's going to take a deflection and out. And it's going to be offsides. How was that offside? Okay. And for those that are tuning in, man, this has easily been one of the worst first halves from a standpoint of just losing composure. Just a bad lack of football IQ, mistakes, and then conceding within 6 minutes, 2 goals within 6 minutes. And Spurs have yet to find a way in. As that ball's badly overplayed, looking for Richarlison, and now here come Fulham. As Bergvall will hold possession here, plays it out to the right. It's Pedro Porro, who's going to try to play it up, and he does. He finds Rando Kolomowani, but Bassi does a good job. Look at Kolomowani staying with it. As they're going to say that the foul was against Kolomowani. That was just a good battle. As Fulham wins it. Good hustle by Kolomowani. I guess good play by Bassi, I guess. As we are approaching the 37th minute. As Leno will play this long. As that'll come down, Spurs will hold possession. Pedro Porro. As that was deflected, but looks like, as Fulham will take control. That ball goes central, taken away by Danso. Good defense right there by Spurs. And now they're going to play this one long. Down to Richarlison. Bad pass right there. And Fulham will try to play this direct. Wow. Good flick in. Ball across. And that's going to get headed out right there. And it looks like that'll be a corner for Fulham here. As Chukwueze puts one in. It looks like it was Raul Jimenez against Van de Ven. As Van de Ven wins the battle. So this will be a Fulham corner here. As that gets headed back across. And it looks like Spurs will play that out. So this will most likely be a Fulham throw in here off the left-hand touch line. As we are approaching the 40th minute here in the first half, Fulham capitalized on 2 costly mistakes by Spurs. And since then, Spurs have shown absolutely nothing going forward. That'll come down. It looks like it's Mohamed Kudus. But quickly played back to Leto, who will reset here. Now Kenny Tete will fire this across. And Van de Ven will quickly play it back to Vicario. And Spurs will reset here. Here's Udoji. And it'll be Danso. Plays it off to Pedro Porro. Nice little pass forward. And Archie Gray will try to keep possession. Good battle. And it'll be Fulham. We'll take over at midfield. This is just bad football. And Fulham doesn't really need to do too much. They're essentially protecting a 2-goal lead. They're just out muscling everybody. But there is a whistle. And it looks like Randall Colomwani has hit the deck. This will look like a Spurs free kick from a decent position here. Can Spurs capitalize? Spurs desperately need a goal here before the end of the first half. And it'll be Pedro Porro. As that ball gets played in and immediately cleared, here comes Fulham on the counter. Good job right there. As Vicario will play this long. As Anderson now will play this forward for Fulham. And that ball's going to get out for a Spurs throw-in. There's just no rhythm. There's no fluidity. There's no continuity. There's just nothing. As that ball gets played off of Richarlison. I hate to be the one to say it, but if they don't find a result in this match, if they're not able to climb their way back in this one, at least find something. Man, oh man, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to justify Thomas Frank as that ball gets played forward. Good move to the outside. As that ball gets played back, Porro will play it in. And it's cleared away by Fulham. Held in by Danso. Again, they'll try to reset off the right side. Porro, nice little ball in. Here's Kudus. And that ball's taken away off a bad pass. Oh, nice heads up play right there by Pedro Porro. As they play this into Colomwani. Is Mwani playing it to himself? As that ball gets cleared. So this will be a Spurs throw-in. As that ball gets played in. Headed up and cleared. To the back post. And headed away. Nice little play by Wilson to keep that in. As that ball will sail over King and Spurs will hold possession here. Oh, and Porro gets picked. Spurs figure out a way to hold it back in. Good Lord. Here's Archie Gray. We'll play it out to the right. Here's Kudus. Ooh. There's a ball in that gets tipped out, but Udogie will hold it back in. Here's Udogie. There is a shot that sails over the crossbar. Ooh. This is bad. As we are approaching the 45th minute. And Spurs are going to need a miracle in the second half. Instead of starting quick, it was Fulham that started this match on the front foot. It was Fulham taking advantage of mistakes. So 3 minutes of added time here in the first half. As there's going to be a whistle here. Looks like this will go to Spurs. As play resets, here's Lucas Bergvall off the left-hand side. Bergvall. And will ultimately play it back to Van de Ven. As Spurs now will swing it to the right side. Now they'll be back to Van de Ven, who's got space. Van de Ven plays it forward. Oh, bad tip right there by Richarlison, and quickly that ball goes all the way back to Vicario. And Spurs will have to reset. And it'll be Van de Ven. In some ways, this is even worse than what we saw last year. They just don't have an attacking identity. As Kudus is going to try to play one in. That gets headed away. And that's the frustrating thing, is because there's talent. As this ball gets played in, nearly headed on goal, but here comes Fulham now. As Fulham tries to break. That's good defense right there. Here's Pedro Porro. And that's going to get tipped away. That'll get out for a corner. In some ways, and looks like Richarlison's holding his knee here. Oh dear. In some ways, it's worse. At least under Ange, you knew exactly what the attacking philosophy was going to be every single match and game out. And the philosophy is, the best defense is to score more goals. As this ball gets whipped in, and that'll go all over the entire pack in front of net. Under Thomas Frank, it's our attacking identity is to be determined week by week, and there's no chance for consistency or continuity, and because of it, you can see that we're struggling as a team to score goals. In some ways, we looked absolutely brilliant against PSG getting forward. And today it's just nothing. As we have reached the half with Fulham leading 2-0. And let's go ahead and get into the stats here. Spurs controlled the possession, 62-38. That's not necessarily shocking, just considering the way that Fulham plays. A true counterattacking team. They have no problem playing without the ball. Of course, the difference in this match so far in the first half is they were able to take advantage of two costly mistakes. The XG battle, Fulham leads this one 0.34 to 0.07 total shots. Fulham 5, Spurs 2. Shots on target, 2-0 for Fulham, as Spurs have missed a big chance. Accurate passes, Spurs 217, Fulham 121. Fouls committed, Spurs 7, Fulham 4. Corners, Spurs lead that battle 3-2. Shots inside the box, Fulham 2, Spurs 0. Shots outside the box, 3-2 to Fulham as well, too. Total passes, Spurs 253, Fulham 164. Accurate passes, 217 to 127. Passes in the own half, Spurs 113 to 82. Passes in the opposition half, 104 to 39. Accurate long balls, Fulham 12, Spurs 11. Accurate crosses, Fulham 1, Spurs 0. Throws 15 to 10. Touches in the opposition box is tied 9-9, as Fulham has been offsides 2 to Spurs 1. Defense, Fulham leads the tackle battle 9-8. Spurs lead the interception battle 8-4. Clearances, Fulham 31, Spurs 11. Duels, Fulham leads the duel battle 27-21. Ground duel 17-15 Fulham. Aerial duels 10-6 Fulham, and successful dribbles 4-2 Spurs. And that is the total picture of that first half. And again, this was actually, this is actually how I thought this was going to play out. Spurs were going to control most of the possession. What we were hoping for was, a little bit more consistency from what we saw off that Champions League match versus PSG. Essentially to attack with the handbrake off and just allow some of their attackers to do their jobs. And again, we've seen a lot of tentative moves as we've been getting. It's not the issue of the link-up play between the midfield and the attacking three, but for whatever reason, at the attacking three, we're just not seeing the same movement from Spurs getting into positions where they can actually be dangerous. Right? It seems like we're just doing ourselves a favor of just kind of staying on the wings and hoping to win some 1v1 battles to put some crosses in. It's like, dude, just fucking play through the middle of the pitch. I mean, that's what the design of a 4-2-2-2 or a 4-4-2 is to play a little bit more direct through the middle of the park, and we're just not seeing it. Not only that, but some of our passing from the outside to the end has just been absolutely dog shit awful. And so from that standpoint, I don't know what else to say except for something's going to have to change, and it's going to have to happen quickly. We have 45 minutes to play ourselves back into this one. And if that doesn't happen, then listen, man, the pitchforks will be out. There is already a lot of negativity that's been creeped in from the fan base. And losing to a team like Fulham that, again, has yet to win a road match in the Premier League, is just simply unacceptable. And to make the mistakes that we've made to allow this to get to this point, again, has clearly been unacceptable. And there's just really no excuse. So from that standpoint, Thomas Frank has a lot to work with. The question is, do you make halftime changes? Is it going to be that dire where you feel like you're going to have to change something up to be a little bit more direct in the second half versus what we're seeing right now? Great question. Where I thought he actually got it right against PSG, Thomas Frank, with his squad selection, I think he actually kind of got it wrong here today. This to me kind of felt like a good day to get Xavi rolling. And again, he elects to sit Xavi in this one. And I wonder whether or not that actually had a little bit of an effect. But we'll see exactly how Thomas Frank plays this one out. 45 minutes and again, if Spurs cannot find their way back in, and this ends up being a 2-0 clean sheet disaster, I hate to say it, man. Would I be surprised if the Tottenham board pulled the trigger on Thomas Frank? I don't think I would, and I actually think it would be warranted because I don't know exactly what this team is trying to be at the moment, and that's, to me, just an absolute huge problem. So we'll see. Before we get back to it, let's go ahead and take a look around the Premier League, as we've actually had some pretty fun matchups so far. All right, so we start with Brentford and Burnley, as Brentford take a 3-1 victory over Burnley with goals, and it looks like Igor Thiago had a double in the second half. Second half brace in the 81st and the 86th, and of course Dango Atara scored in the 90+2 Zion Fleming scored for Burnley on a penalty in the 85th minute, but it was not enough as Brentford will get the 3 points. Sunderland overcomes a 2-0 disastrous start with Aldi and Tyler Adams scoring in the 7th and 15th minute. And by the way, Tyler Adams actually had that, essentially a beautiful volley from essentially from the center circle, putting up Bournemouth up 2-0. But then again, Enzo Lafie gets one in the 36th minute, Traore in the 46th, and then Brian Brobry in the 69th minute as Sunderland pulls out the 3 points there. That was absolutely beautiful. Man City beats Leeds 3-2 as Phil Foden scored a brace in this one. Looks like Vardy scored in the 25th minute, and Leeds gets goals from Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Lucas Mcheka, but it wasn't enough as Leeds unfortunately drops through 3 points to Man City. Newcastle absolutely batters Everton. They're at Merseyside as Malik Tia scores a double in the 1st and the 58th minute. Lewis Miley in the 25th minute and Nick Woltmade in the 45th minute. Keenan Dewsbury Hall scores for Everton in the 7th minute, but it wasn't enough as unfortunately Everton. It's one of those matches. Tomorrow around the Premier League, Crystal Palace will host Manchester United. West Ham hosts Liverpool. This is kind of a big match for Liverpool, considering that I think they've dropped 7 in a row in the Premier League, and their season is slowly slipping away. So this is actually kind of a big match for Liverpool. Aston Villa hosts Wolves. Nottingham Forest hosts Brighton, and Chelsea will host Arsenal. So that's going to be an interesting way to wrap up the Premier League week. So from that standpoint, listen, if you're a Spurs fan, and of course we all are, this is actually kind of a key 3 points, because when you look at the table and the way that it's set up, if Spurs were able to pull this one out, now all of a sudden you're sitting at 21, 22 points. And you're right in the thick of things when it comes to the European spots, but you drop this and you give Fulham the 3 points. Now all of a sudden they're at 20 and we're stuck at 18 points, and we move farther down the table. So this is absolutely kind of a huge match for Spurs, because you start dropping these type of results and all of a sudden now you're going to find yourself in the latter half of the table. And it's going to be awfully hard to try to figure a way to get, to climb back into the stable. So you have 45 minutes to figure this thing out. And hopefully Thomas Frank is able to do it. And it's just, it's kind of like a damn the torpedoes moment. Let's be real. And you're just going to have to throw everything at Fulham. And hopefully you're going to be able to get those 2 back. And, if you're able to do that, I think you take the result, but something's going to have to change here in the second 45. So we'll see exactly what happens. Let me know exactly how you felt about the first half. Let me know if you feel like there's changes that need to be made, because from where I'm sitting here, this is in some ways even worse than the first half against Chelsea, or the first half against Arsenal, if you ask me personally. The fact that it came against Fulham, man. And it's no disrespect to Fulham. They are exactly who they are. They don't have the finances to bring in the type of talent. So they're going to have to make do with what they are. And so they are your quintessential counterattacking team. And they try to be resolute defensively, and they'll take their chances getting forward. And they certainly did. Fulham is a team that still can punish you if you're caught out. And the fact that they did it within a span of 3 minutes before we even had an opportunity to blink or breathe just goes to show you, the difference between an inch of the Premier League. So from that standpoint, this would be I would classify this as a humiliating defeat. one that I don't think you're going to be able to come back from if you're Thomas Frank, if I'm being perfectly honest. So, we'll see exactly what happens in the second half. But that being said, man, you drop this one to Fulham, and in a position where you don't at least show some fight in the second half. I hate to say it, man. I think he loses the fan base, personally. As bad as it was in the North London Derby, and it was bad. As bad as it was against Chelsea at home, and it was bad. Most fans were willing to give him the benefit of the doubt against PSG in the Champions League because, again, PSG. But that being said, like when you look at some of the positives, it's like, okay, cool, maybe you can build off of that. And he wasn't. So it is what it is. So it looks like we're almost ready for the start of the second half. Spurs will be playing to their home end, the South Stand. Ugh, bad. Oh, man. That second goal, man. That one still gets me. I wouldn't mind seeing Xavi come in to start the second half. I would kind of like to see that. And just be a little bit more direct through the center of the park. Put the ball on the foot of Xavi in central areas and just let him cook. Let him do what he does best. Release the handbrake and just go after him. Because if you're Thomas Frank, you can't afford to drop this one. I'm sorry, you just can't. You drop this one, and now all of a sudden you go from what, 9th, 10th to 12th. Your season's pretty much on the brink. And by the way, if you ask me, your season's pretty much over in the Premier League. It's going to be awfully hard to climb your way back into the table with this, with these type of performances, because there's from here, where do you go? How do you get Spurs fans believing that you have the ability to turn it around? That's where I'm at right now with Thomas Frank. And so, okay, cool. The first 45 didn't go your way. Fair enough. Put that behind you. And now it's this 45, and just, let the dogs loose, man. So we'll see exactly how this plays out as we're ready to start the second half. As Spurs will be playing to their home ends, the South Stand. And let's just see this team just get after it. Within the first 10 minutes, get one back. And you can just see frustration on the face of everyone involved. As it doesn't look like there's going to be any substitution here. Spurs will hold possession. And we'll see what Thomas Frank has cooked up here in the second half. As we are getting ready to start the second half, as Archie Gray will be responsible. And we are off as that ball gets played back to Vicario. And it'll go right to Pedro Porro, who's actually got space here. As that ball goes in, and that's going to be tipped out. As Pedro Porro will hold it in. Again, we'll play it into the box. Ooh! Ooh! Ooh. As that ball actually got out. They're going to say play on. as Van de Ven does a good job of racing that one down, but good hustle right there by Pedro Porro to play 2 in. The second one found the foot of Rando Kolomwani as they're going to try to play one forward again. That's going to get cleared out for a Spurs throw-in. As Rando Kolomwani got on the end of that one, put it right into Bassey's chest, and it looked like that ball leaked out for a corner there. As the Spurs will play this one back in, and now Fulham will come down with the ball. As it looks like it finds Alex Iwobi here. As Anderson will play it over to Bassey. Here's Sessegnon. Here's Chukwueze. Into Jimenez. We'll play it forward to Chukwueze. That ball goes in. And there's Vicario, who immediately plays it out. And there's a whistle right there against Lucas Bergvall, so this will be a Spurs free kick. Little bit more intensity to start the second half. That's a good sign. As Kevin Danso now will have possession of the football. As this gets worked to the left-hand side. As Bergvall will play it back to Danso. As here's Archie Gray. As Van de Ven will play it back to Danso. Here's Van de Ven. As it's Kevin Danso. As that ball gets away. Oh, nice hustle right there by Richarlison to keep the possession. Here comes Spurs now. And there is a whistle here. And I think there's going to be a yellow card against Destiny Udoji. As we see it again, heavy touch by Udoji, who has to come in. Oh, yeah. Looks like he got Kenny Teta right there on the right foot. So sloppiness, Hotspurs there in that attacking sequence. Good Lord. So Fulham will have possession here. As Anderson plays this one long. Finds Raul Jimenez. And Jimenez comes down with it. As that'll get played to the right. Looks like it's Kenny Teta who will play one forward. And it looks like it's offside. Yeah, not at all, man. Not at all. Slot won the Premier League last year. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to justify it. That being said, the talent's real. Me personally, I just think that Slot has done too much, trying to implement his style of football to a team that literally was a counter-pressing team. And so I think there's a lot of miscommunication on just exactly how he wants to play football versus the strengths of the team. But that being said, if there's any team that can turn it around, it's Liverpool, 100%. As the ball makes its way back to Leno, as he will play this one forward. As that'll come down to Pedro Porro. The Spurs will hold possession. It's Archie Gray. Bray will make the switch to the left-hand side. Not enough, but that'll actually stay with Spurs. Here's Lucas. There you go, Lucas. Get forward. There you go, Lucas. As Pedro now makes a good run. Out to Caduce to the right-hand side. Oh, nice move by Caduce. Tries to get free. 1v2. Here's Porro. And that's going to get deflected out. For a corner kick. As Pedro Porro will be responsible for the corner here. Oh, this is hard to watch. As we are now approaching the 52nd minute, as Caduce actually will be taking the corner here. As that ball goes in, and that's going to be cleared away. Oh, tipped away as, oh, look at that. Spurs do a good job of keeping possession here. So they're going to try to pin Fulham deep here. As they work their way from right to left, it's Lucas Bergvall. Forward. Here's Pedro Porro. Out to the right against Caduce. Good defense right there by Wilson, so that'll get out for a throw-in. Oh, they're actually going to say it goes off of Caduce. This will be a Fulham throw-in. As we are looking at that replay of that corner, Bryn Leno is a stud. God damn it. As that ball gets headed forward. And it'll come down to Spurs. Oh, nice ball. Oh, no whistle against Richarlison. As Richarlison was mugged. Oh, here comes Fulham into the box. Great hold-up play right there. As Spurs will come away with it, but Fulham nearly challenges again as they can get forward. God damn it. As Porro now will play it long. And it's Bryn Leno. As we'll see this one again, 100% that should have been a foul against Bassi, as he literally just pulls him down by the arm. As that ball comes down, Spurs will hold possession here. As they're going to play this one out to the right, it's Caduce. What do you know? They're just not getting forward. Holy shit. There you go. As that ball goes in, tip forward. And taken away by Fulham. And Fulham's about to break. Good pass to the inside, but nice positioning by Archie Gray. Slows it down. Oh. As that ball now will switch to the right, he finds Caduce. As he comes forward, ball in, that's going to get deflected away right there, so this will be another Spurs corner here. And it looks like Xavi's about to come in. It looks like Odebear and Betancourt are about to come in as well, too. Absolutely. As Spurs will play this short. Here's Caduce. Back post. There's nobody there. As we are now approaching the 56 minute, and yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense that Thomas is going to, has to do something here. Maybe the changes should have been made at half. Gives the starting lineup the benefit of the doubt, but 10 minutes into the second half, it's still nothing. Although here we go. Here's a little something here. Here's Porro. Play it in. Ooh! Oh, and Kolo Muani missed it right to the side, off the right side right there at the near post. Good ball in from Pedro Porro. Oh, and Randall just missed it. Oh. That was Spurs' best opportunity to get a goal. Oh, here we go again, though. That's Porro will play one in. Ooh, and that's going to be knocked out by Anderson. That was nearly an own goal right there. So this will be yet another corner. So here we go. As that ball goes in, that's tipped away but kept in. Or we'll play it back to Kudus, who's got space. Kudus. Oh, nice move. Plays it. Back post held in. Here's Porro. Plays it over to Kudus. It's that ball, and played out, but held in by Bergvall. Tips it in. Here's Kudus. Shoots. Oh, we get one back. Mohamed Kudus. What a goal. And it looked like it was originally Pedro Porro who tried to shoot one in. And that gets deflected. And then it was Lucas Bergvall who picks out Kudus, who just has the angle and beats Bren Leno to the near post. And Spurs get one back in the 58th minute. Still enough time. Still enough time to get something out of this one. And coming in now, Spurs will make a triple change now. As Archie Gray comes off. And it looks like Odebear checks on. Richarlison will come off for Xavi. And Paulinho will come off for Betancourt. All right. As it looks like Betancourt now will actually play the lone six role. As Bergvall looks like might play a little higher up. Here's Bergvall. And it'll be, here we go. As that ball gets played out, as Destiny Udoji was trying to play a 1-2 right there off the left-hand side. This will be a Fulham throw-in. So we're now in the 60th minute, 30 minutes left to play. Spurs get one back, still very much into it. 2-1 Fulham. As that ball gets played up the right-hand side. Good heads-up play right there by Bergvall. So this will be a Fulham throw-in deep in Spurs territory. As Fulham, again, essentially outside of the 2 goals, Spurs have actually controlled possession here, played a bulk of their game in Fulham's half. As Jimenez went up 1v1 against Udoji, and Udoji gets the better of it. And there is a whistle here. As Udoji gets up here. As it looks like there was contact between Jimenez and Udoji right there. As Spurs will hold possession. Here's Van de Ven. As that ball now will switch to the right-hand side. Here's Kudus. Trying to attack forward. Here's Kudus again. Space. As that ball takes a deflection. As that'll get out for another corner. And they're going to say that went off and out for a goal kick. Oy, oy, oy. Ooh, there you go. There you go. Ah, damn it. As that ball gets played back to Lennon, who's going to immediately sky it. Spurs will hold possession. Nice little flick right there. Oh, good defense right there by Fulham. As Xavi put a nice little flick to get a ball forward. As we're now approaching the 65th minute. Sorry about that. I had to answer a text there. So this will be a Fulham throw-in, but it looks like Fulham's about to make a double switch. It looks like Emil Smith-Rowe is going to check in. As Spurs try to get possession back, but Fulham does a very good job. Oh, look at Lucas Bergvall taking it away. Here we go. Kudus. And he's got an outside runner. It's Pedro Porro. Porro is going to try to play it in. Ooh! Ooh, and Xavi missed it. Oh. And Xavi did a beautiful job of timing that. Oh. And was that deflected? Oh, it was. It was out for a corner. This will be Spurs' 7th corner. As Kudus will take it. That ball gets whipped in short. Headed forward. Oh, cleared off the line. But held in. Oh, here we go. Around the corner. Oh, bad pass right there. As that gets cleared. But Spurs will try to keep pressure. Nice ball. Tipped around. Here we go. From the left-hand side. Cuts in. From the outside. Over to Porro. Porro will try to take a shot. That gets deflected. Bencourt holds it in. Over to Caduce off the right-hand side. And I think they're going to say offside. Oh. Oh, that was good defense right there by Raul Jimenez. That ball was headed in. Look at Lucas Bergvall. Oh, got a head to it, and it was Raul Jimenez heading it off the line. Oh, fucking hate Mexico. I'm just playing. I don't hate Mexico. Yeah, I kind of do hate Mexico being an American supporter. Good Lord. It's always a Mexican national. As Wilson will come off and Lukic will check in. And King will come off, and it looks like it'll be Emil Smith-Rowe. As Leno now will play this long. Great job. Oh. Oh. And Kolo Muani got his back pocket picked. That'll come down to Van de Ven, but it's Udoji. As Spurs have actually applied very good pressure going forward. Nice movement by Caduce. We'll lay it back as that'll go out. Here's Porro. That's tapped away and out. So we'll do this again. Spurs are knocking on the door for an equalizer here. That's Caduce. We'll get that tipped away, but Spurs will hold it in. Here's Udoji. Playing it up the left-hand side. It's Odebear. Cuts in. Here's Shabak. Shabby moves. Shabby's out wide left. That ball takes a ricochet back. And Van de Ven will play it right back into Shabby. That's a good ball forward. And there's a whistle. They're going to say no foul. Wow. All right. As now they're going to try to switch this over. As it goes off in Wobie. But right there is Caduce. Here's Porro. Now it's Danso. Here's Bergvall. Come on, Bergvall. You got to keep running. As they're going to try to play this forward. Here's Caduce. Lays it forward to Porro. Porro creates space. Plays one. Oh. Ooh. Deflected away. And Caduce does a really good job as that ball goes to the back post. Oh. And Odebear can't get a handle on it. As that ball gets played forward, here's Raul. Oh, look at Van de Ven. Spurs will set up again. Here's Betancourt. Oh, that's a bad pass. As Raul will play it out. Here's Bassi. All the way to Iwobi. As Iwobi will try to play it centrally. That's taken away. Falls back. Oh, nice play right there by Bergvall. Here's Odebear playing one in. Oh, too far forward for Xavi. As we are now in the 72nd minute. Spurs are trying to will themselves here in the second half. A much, much better representation of themselves here in the second half, getting one back. The task is not complete, though. Is that ball? Oh, that ball's through. Oh, that ball's deflected right there. Woo! As that landed on the foot of Emil Smith Rowe. As that ball will go out. And looks like Danso did a good job right there. Look at Pedro trying to do something right there. As Emil Smith Rowe versus Bergvall right there. Here's Iwobi. It's Emil Smith Rowe. As Brent Leno will boot this. Right there is Danso, who's going to play it forward. Right there is Iwobi. Oh, good play right there. As looks like that was Betancourt. Here's Odebear. Here's Xavi. Nearly taken away. That's going to go out. And they're going to say Fulham ball. As we're now approaching the 75th minute. 15 minutes remain. Plus extra time. And it looks like Pat Sarr is getting ready to come in. Here's Raul. And they're going to say that one was offside. As Spurs have restarted here. So that one's played back to Danso, and here's Pedro Porro now. As Fulham has done a little bit better job defensively now, closing down passing lanes. But here's Danso. Break it out to Porro. All the way out to Kudus. And Kudus will hold it, but he's got to play it back to Danso. The Spurs have to restart here. Here's Van de Ven, who will play it up to the left. Here's Odebear now. Against Sensignon. Here's Xavi. Xavi tries to do something that gets blocked. Nice job by Xavi to keep it. Oh, they're going to have a whistle. And that'll go against Xavi. As Bergwall comes off for Papstar. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So we're now approaching the 77th minute, 13 minutes remaining now, as Fulham leads 2-1 as play restarts here as that ball goes out. So this will be a Spurs throw-in now. As Pedro Porro will be responsible. But again, man, this almost feels like it's too little too late. As that'll go off and that'll get out again for another Spurs throw-ins. Pedro Porro will take this throw-in. As Porro has to play it centrally. As Colomwani does his part, but here's Iwobi as Fulham tries to play this centrally. Out left, here's Iwobi. Move central. Nice give and go. Raul had it at the back post. And it goes out. Spurs dodge an absolute bullet. And now there's a yellow card. Looks like Raul got his hand on it. And he will be given the yellow card. Oh, boy. And we will restart here with Kevin Danso. There's Van de Ven. Unreal, man. Unreal how this game is played out. Here's Kudus trying to get around. That's going to get tipped away. Spurs will have to throw it in. And it'll be Danso who will play it back to Vicario. Spurs will have to reset. Try to get it up the pitch as quick as they possibly can. As Fulham has done a very good job in the last 15 minutes of kind of shutting down passing lanes. Spurs have kind of stuck in the mid, but that's a good play forward. To the end line. Plays it in. Ooh. Good defense right there by Anderson as that one goes out, and Spurs will have a throw in. That was a great ball forward. And now Fulham will make a change. Excuse me. As we're now approaching the 80th minute. As Chukwueze will come off for Fulham. And he's certainly had himself a pretty decent game today, especially in that first half. And it looks like Kevin will check in. So this will be a throw in. Kevin Danso will try to launch this one into the box. He does. Tipped out. Shoots. Oh, as it goes wide. Oh, Randall. As we're at 10 minutes left to play, as we're in the 80th minute now. As it was Udoji initially shooting at it, then it was Randall Colomwani with a back heel that just goes wide. Oh. As that ball's going to get headed out. They're going to say this last touch by Spurs here. So this will be a Fulham throw-in. Ryan Sessegnon will take this for the Cottagers. As Danso does a good job right there. And that last touch. It looks like last touch by Fulham, and it looks like Matisse Tell is about ready to come in for the last 10 minutes. As Spurs have missed 2 opportunities here to equalize. As Van de Ven does a good job right there, playing out of it. Here's Odebear. Plays it forward. Spurs have space with Xavi. And Xavi gives it away. And here comes Fulham on the counterattack. Plays it forward. Nice. Nice. And Fulham takes it right back. Unreal. All the way out to the left. Oh, there's a shot that gets redirected into Vicario. As Spurs are running out of time here. As Danso nearly loses it. Here's Porro. As Kudus does a good job of trying to hold it in. That ball gets away. Here comes Kevin. Now it's Emil Smith-Rowe with a nice touch. Oh, look at that. Good sliding tackle right there by Betancourt. They're going to actually say that's a foul. As we see this again, yeah, it looks like he got there just a little bit late. This looks like it's going to be a free kick. In a dangerous, dangerous position. If Fulham scored here, this thing is over. As Betancourt gives away a free kick right off the left-hand side of the box. So this is essentially do or die for Spurs right here. They concede this thing is over. And you wonder what the narrative is going to be after this one if Fulham holds on. I certainly don't want this for my football club. As we're getting ready here. Here we go. Ball goes in, cleared. Thank goodness as that ball gets played out. Thank goodness. Whew. As it looks like, yep, Matisse Tell comes on now. As Spurs will bring in an additional attacker. As Udoji comes off, Tell comes on. As Spurs are hunting for that equalizer here. As it looks like as that ball goes in, and that'll go out for a goal kick. So it looks like a potential back three. Of Van de Ven, Danso, and Porro. Here's Danso. Plays it over to Van de Ven. Five minutes remain. As looks like Betancourt nearly lost that. Actually, it was Sarr. My apologies. As that ball goes up the left-hand side. Good touch right here. Here's Wilson Odebear against Anderson. Tipped away. That's going to get out, and it looks like it's going to be a corner. Let's go, Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. As we are ready for this ball to get whipped in. There it is. Headed away. But right back. That ball goes back post. There's Brent Leno. 4 minutes remain here for Spurs before we hit stoppage time. As Leno has to act quick, and he does. All the way out to Raul Jimenez. And that's going to get played out. So Spurs will have to throw in. As it looks like Fulham will make a change. As Iwobi comes off. As Castagna comes in. As we are getting dangerously close to the end of this one. As Spurs will hold it. Good flick on, but Fulham will play it forward. Danso. And it'll head out to Vicario. Spurs will reset. 3 minutes remaining before we hit stoppage time here at the end of this one. Spurs get one back, but haven't found the equalizers. Foro tries to play one forward. Kudus does a good job of holding it in. And they're going to say it's offside. Oh. And Spurs are pressing here. As we have 2 minutes left. As Fulham capitalized in the first 6 minutes of the first half, getting two terrible mistakes by Spurs. And so far, that has standed for Fulham as Spurs couldn't collect themselves in the first half. Did actually look a little bit better in the second half as far as hustle and fight. Were able to get one back. But are still searching for the equalizer. Here's Kudus down the right-hand side. And that's going to go off of Kudus. Spurs have literally in the last 10 minutes have pressed. Trying to do too much. Can't do enough. Credit Fulham. Their defense have actually been pretty good. Taking away passing lanes. As Danso will play this one forward. But there is a whistle. As Spurs will restart. Three seconds until stoppage time. Here's Pedro Porro. As now Danso's trapped, as that one's going to go off of Emil Smith Rowe. Here's Sarr. As they're going to say this one, that has to have been played off of Emil Smith Rowe. Spurs will restart again. Here's Van de Ven. As they got to get up the pitch quick as we're now approaching the 90th minute. Four minutes of stoppage time. Here's Kudus. Pedro Porro will keep it. Tapped away. Ball goes to the back post. And that will fly out for a goal kick. And this has just been the worst result possible for Spurs. A team like Fulham that has yet to win in the Premier League on the road. Come to Tottenham Hotspur. Take advantage of Spurs. Poor mistakes. Grab a 2-0 lead early. And Spurs can't recover. And it's unfortunate that this is what it is. As that one gets played out. As Caduce. And now Danso will take this throw in. As Danso will play it forward. Caduce will switch it. And that'll go. That looks like that'll go off against Kenny Tete. As Odebear has to get up quickly. As we're now in the 92nd minute. Can Spurs find an equalizer and salvage this match as that ball goes in? Headed away. Kept in. Oh, and that's taken away. Spurs will throw it in. Oh. Here's Caduce, headed down. Oh, nice play by Pedro Porro. Keeps it in, tipped. Oh. And here comes Fulham. And Fulham will switch. Here's Raul. And there's a whistle. That'll be a yellow against Randall Kolo-Muani. As we're in the 93rd minute. And I think this just might be it for Spurs here. As looks like fans have started heading for the exit here. As we are inching to the end of this thing. As that ball goes back to Bryn. As it's Vicario. And there it is. As Fulham wins this one 2-1. As Spurs are unable to find their home form as they drop just an absolute disastrous result to Fulham, a team that had yet to get their first road win in the Premier League, and it has to be Spurs. And absolutely, Dan, it was a dreadful performance all the way around. There's no other way that you can describe it. You know, Spurs make two costly mistakes in the first 6 minutes, find themselves down 2-0, and can't find their way back in. As a matter of fact, I mean, essentially waste a first half trying to get their footing. Come out in the second half a little bit more lively. We're able to find one, but I guess credit Fulham because they're the ones that actually hung in there, man. Defensively, they got a little bit. They became defensively resolute. We're cutting off passing lanes and making life difficult for Spurs. And so, I guess credit to Fulham. They did exactly what they were supposed to do in this situation, and that's going to be the talking points, right? That is exactly what it is. And it's rightfully so, man. It's rightfully so. There is no excuse losing to Fulham at home. And I said it at the half. It's like, whether it's fair or not, you know, these are the type of matches where these are the type of matches where a guy like, Frank either pads his credibility with fans, or this is where it turns. And today was kind of a focal point, really, when you think about everything that's gone on, and now we're one win in our last 7, and coming against an FC Copenhagen team in the Champions League. And when you look at our results in the Premier League, man, just not good enough. And the fact that we only have 1 Premier League win at home, the fact that we're ultra conservative at home, and yet for whatever reason, man, we seem to play with the handbrake off on the road. You would think that it would be a little bit different, but that being said, it's like it's inexcusable, and especially the way that we started today as well too. I think about that first 10 minutes and the fact that we just lose our composure, and all of a sudden, 3 minutes in, Kenny Tedda scores, and then literally 2 minutes later, they get another one on a bad mistake by Vicario, who's in that situation. He's just supposed to clear it. That's it. He makes a touch and then puts himself behind the 8 ball, where now he's got to play it off the end line. And like, even in that situation, understanding you're under pressure, you just tap it out. Let them have the throw in at that position, because at least you're going to be able to reset defensively, and you're going to be able to keep your defensive shape. But instead, he tries to play it out, and again, doesn't do a good job, because he plays it, because the ball hooks right back in that situation. Wilson's able just to curl one in, and all of a sudden now it's 2-0, and we just never recovered. What I will say, if we're looking for positives, yes, the team responded a little bit better in the second half. We played the majority of the second half in their end, and we were able to get one back still with enough time. I think we scored in the 58th minute, and we still had plenty of time to equalize. But then, again, credit Fulham, because they're the ones that doubled down on their lines, and they were able to clog the passing lanes. We were just not good enough, and then we started pressing, and then we started making mistakes with the ball. And I knew for a fact that we were going to find that equalizer, because usually teams in that type of situation are calm under pressure and will not try to force things, and we were just trying to force anything that we could possibly do to get into the box. We had a couple of decent opportunities, but not really. That was, it was the Kolo Muani miss to the near post. That was kind of our best opportunity right there. It just didn't fall. And so from that standpoint, everything was just a Hail Mary after that point, and it is what it is. And instead of gaining 3 points, we actually drop. And now, whether it's fair or not, this is how it's going to be. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stats now. Spurs win the possession battle 63-37. They win the XG battle 0.86 to 0.42. Total shots, Spurs 14, Fulham 7. Shots on target, Fulham 3, Spurs 2. Spurs had 2 big chances that they missed. Accurate passes for Spurs 437, Fulham 236. Fouls committed, Spurs 11, Fulham 7. Corners, Spurs won that one 8-2. Shots inside the box, Spurs had 10 to Fulham's 3, so no excuses. Total passes, Spurs 505, Fulham 315, passes in the own half, Spurs 216, Fulham 164. Passes in the opposition half, 221, 72. Accurate log balls, 21-21. Accurate crosses, Spurs 6, Fulham 1. Throws 26-23 Spurs. Touches in the opposition box 26-14. Again, no excuses. Spurs had 3 yellow cards to Fulham's 2. Fulham did win the tackle battle, and this is exactly where Fulham actually won it. 25-14. Spurs did lead the interception battle 11-9, but then you look at blocks, 7 for Fulham, clearances 45. And then, of course, they won the duel battle 56-48, ground duels 40-25. We did win the aerial duel battle 23-16. We had successful dribbles, but that was the name of the game, right? Fulham took advantage of 2 costly errors early and then sat back, and we couldn't break them down. We did get one back. Granted, I will give us that, but whatever, man, it doesn't matter. Fulham did a very good job late, and then we were put in a position where we were just throwing up Hail Marys hoping something sticks. That's no way to play. That's no way to play ball. And again, I said it in the first half, this is the biggest problem with Thomas Frank is the fact that from game to game to game, we just look something different. We don't have an attacking identity. And this is why it feels a little bit worse than last year. Like last year, it was bad because it was easy to play against us. But at least this is what we were trying to do from game to game to game to game. For better or for worse, this year we're not that at all. From match to match, we just look like we're something different, and there's no continuity, there's no chemistry, and this is a ship that's going to be sinking pretty quickly. And unfortunately, these are the type of losses that unfortunately get you fired. I hate to be the one to say it, but it's true. And whether or not I like Thomas Frank is irrelevant. What is relevant is results, and right now we're just not getting them. And this season is quickly slipping away. So, good teams recognize it and will make a switch and try to salvage something. You wonder if that is the case, and maybe they might be able to get a caretaker to finish out the season. The last thing you want to do is alienate your players. And you can see the frustration written all over these players because things aren't going their way. And the one thing you don't want to do is alienate your players to the point where they're going to start requesting transfers away from the club, right? So that's the question. Like, has it gotten to a point now where you almost have to fire Thomas Frank to keep the unity within the dressing room? That is a very good question, and I'm sure that's going to be the talking point from here on out. And it sucks. I wish it didn't have to be this way. But when you lose matches like this to a team that hasn't won a game on the road in the Premier League so far this season, and the way that you do it was so shockingly bad, within 10 minutes they're down 2-0. On just 2 bonehead goddamn mistakes. It's Keystone Cops football, man. It's the circus is in town. And now all of a sudden you're spending the rest of the first half trying to actually get into a rhythm. It didn't work, and it is what it is. And the other thing was the fact that Thomas Frank didn't make any changes, and it just is what it is, man. I got to get out of here though, because again, this is the 5th straight week outside of Copenhagen, the Champions League. This has just been dreadful. All right, guys, you guys take care. We'll see you back in about an hour and a half for the MLS Watchalong. Take care, guys.